Okay, last video for 3.2, African Muslim and Christian city-states. Southwest of the Sahara in African grasslands called the Sahel, the Muslim kingdoms of Ghana, Songhai, and Mali exported salt, gold, and animal skins across the desert via camel caravans and connected into the Afro-Eurasian network of exchange. These Sudanic states developed major trade and education centers like Timbuktu, Jean, and Gao. The borders of these civilizations were often difficult to define, and sometimes they overlapped. Ghana was a regional state around the 400s or 500s, and an increase in trans-Saharan trade led to its growth in power and influence. It was an important commercial site and center for trade for gold in the south, and so it received ivory, slaves, horses, cloth, and salt in exchange. It built a large army funded by the tax on trade. By the 900s, the kings had converted to Islam, and this led to improved relations with Muslim merchants, but it wasn't forced on the people. But around 1000 CE, Ghana found itself under assault from northern Berbers and other tribal groups, and it was eventually absorbed into Mali. During this period, the trans-Saharan trade in gold and salt continued to increase, especially in Mali. They controlled and could tax all this trade. They honored Islam and provided protection and lodging for merchants. Conversion to Islam was encouraged on a voluntary basis. The Sundaita is an epic poem that tells of how the first Mali emperor came to power. The most famous Mali emperor was Mansa Musa, who we discussed in Unit 2. He ruled from 1312 to 1337, and he was a devout Muslim. He fulfilled one of the 5 pillars of faith and went on a Hajj to Mecca, and he brought thousands of soldiers, attendants, subjects, and slaves with him, as well as hundreds of camels carrying satchels of gold. He built libraries, Islamic schools, and mosques. Timbuktu was the political capital of Mali, and it was a regional cultural center of Islamic scholarship and art for all of West Africa. So let's talk about the Christian city-states. Many Africans in the northern part of the continent converted to Islam after 700, but there was still a significant Christian tradition in Egypt and Ethiopia. It's believed that St. Mark actually preached to the East Africans during the Roman period. Ethiopia evolved into a kingdom with strong Christian traditions, and it developed a unique style of art and architecture. Over time, Christianity had become a minority, like I said, but Ethiopia remains largely Christian in the 21st century, and they actually practice a form of Christianity called Coptic Christianity. In the 13th century, King Lalibela of Ethiopia had a series of Christian churches carved out of rock to symbolize his kingdom's unshakable faith in that religion. And one of their major exports was coffee, which was especially valued in the Muslim world during this era. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not the last video. Hold on.